Hi, I'm Mark, and welcome to the current Outside Views report on Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. According to Brigadier General Oleksander Tarnavskyj, the Ukrainian armed forces have made progress in their counter-offensive. Tarnavsky said the first and strongest Russian line of defense in the Zaporizhia region had been breached now. In the Zaporizhia region, the Ukrainian army finally defeated Russian defenses near Robotyne after weeks of fighting. Now the next Russian line is to be attacked, blocking the way to the occupied cities of Tokmak and Melitopol. The goal is to reach the Sea of Azov, about 90 kilometers away, and to cut off the Russian troops. The Ukrainian defenders are now sandwiched between Russia's first and second lines of defense to the south, as Tarnavsky, who is commander in the Zaporizhia Oblast, told the British Observer. The first line, the Russians would have expended 60% of their resources and time. 20% of the resources can still be expected for lines of defense 2 and 3. The counteroffensive had long been hampered by a huge minefield in this region. Ukraine had been reporting progress in the region for days, which the US Institute for War Studies, the ISW, also wrote about in its analysis published in Washington on Saturday. There, with reference to Russian sources, there was talk of problems for the occupiers. For Russia, the situation at the front is deteriorating. In the counteroffensive, Kiev wants to liberate the Zaporizhia, Donetsk, Luhansk and Cherson areas, some of which are controlled by Moscow, from the Russian occupation. Kiev's goal is also to recapture the Black Sea peninsula of Crimea, which Moscow illegally annexed already in 2014. And meanwhile, Russia again swept across the southern Ukrainian region of Odessa with drone strikes, hitting important port infrastructure for grain exports. 2 people were injured, as the defense forces said on Telegram. A fire broke out during the impacts on the port infrastructure, which was quickly extinguished. The massive drone attack lasted more than 3.5 hours, they said. The Air Force of Ukraine said that the anti-aircraft defense in Odessa shot down 22 of 25 drones. Where exactly the impacts occurred in the Danube region was not reported. The Russian Defense Ministry confirmed the attacks, saying that fuel depots belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces were shelled. Military bloggers close to the Kremlin have claimed that the Russian Defense Ministry has once again shut down port infrastructure, but the information could not be checked independently. Russia had repeatedly shelled the Black Sea and Danube ports in the Odessa region. Shortly before the attacks, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced that 2 more cargo ships had passed through the Black Sea grain corridor set up by Kiev. After Russia pulled out of the agreement to ship grain across the Black Sea, Kiev is trying to organize the export despite the risk of Moscow attacks. Dozens of merchant ships have been stranded in Ukraine's Black Sea ports since the Russian invasion began more than 18 months ago. And if you want to know more about the current developments in this war, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.